Challenges in healthcare organizations, I don't think I need to go over them. Probably everybody knows them. I will focus most on security and ransomware today and compliancy. So you might already say that from a storage vendor, it's an odd topic to talk about. But we have some tools included in our product that can cover that. Quickly setting the stage where we come from, where we go, where we're moving to. So if you look to history, and history still today, we are still working in a lot of organizations in data silos. We see healthcare organizations that have a different storage vendor for PACS, which is outside of IT. So very diverse infrastructure. Now, we went through a stage of hybrid cloud to multi-cloud to being able to communicate between the two, and that's where we are today, like bringing the intelligence into a data infrastructure. That we talk about cloud, but it can be multiple sites, it can be bringing sites together. So making it an open communication and easy to move data from one site to another, to the cloud, back and forward. I know healthcare in Belgium and cloud, if we talk about data, it's a no-go. If we talk about information, it's not a problem. If we say like we're going to store your images in the cloud at Amazon, everybody says no, we can't do it. If we tell we're going to store your emails in the cloud, everybody says, hey, fine idea, let's do it. So it's a different perspective, it's a completely different mindset. I don't really get it why. If we look at geopolitically today, cloud, it's something you have to think about. Our big friend Alan yesterday said like, oh, I can switch off Starlink. Well, our big friend Bezos could say, I switch off Amazon. Our big friends Gates could say like, well, I switch off Microsoft. So there are some more considerations to take when we think about cloud storing production data. I'm not saying you can't do disaster recovery, second tier in the cloud, but if you talk about production and running it from the cloud, I think the perspective is changing. We see in a lot of our neighbor countries that they are really working on a sovereignty cloud. If you talk about France, it's OVH cloud, Swiss cloud, just name it. But we all know we live in Belgium. Everything goes a little bit slower. So that's just to set the stage. This is a slide I have to include in every presentation. It's our marketing who created it. It's the main focus that everybody talks about. I would say if I'm NetApp or any other vendor, you will see these buzzwords coming in every presentation. Talk a little bit about be the hero, the management hero. What it is mostly is healthcare healthcare IT. Is it complex? This is a scheme of an American hospital. So just to have an idea of the number of applications, probably 200 different vendors, 30, 40 different data platforms inside or outside a hospital. So quite complex to manage. Historically approaching, very siloed. We see NAS can be run on vendor A, PACS can be run on vendor B. And what we see is a very, we all talk about optimizing storage. But what you see in these environments, you might have a lot of free space on the NAS side, but you're running out of storage on the PACS side. So there's like a fragmentation of free space and a fragmentation of sleeping money around the storage platform. And what we can offer as NetApp and what we've always been focusing on, when NetApp is since 92, it exists. We created ONTAP as our operating system. Today it's still ONTAP. We went through some cycles where we had to do a migration. One was going from scale up to scale out. because for that your operating system is changing, so you had to do a migration. Since we went through scale out, there hasn't been any migration needed outside of the platform. Any data movement can happen within the cluster. A cluster can be 24 nodes. So you could still segment it by, okay, some parts of the cluster I want to use for SAN, some I want to use for NAS. We include S3 as well recently to the platform. So you can store any application or any communication need can be hosted on NetApp. If you move volumes from one controller to another, it's transparent for the application, so you don't need downtime. And I think that's an important one in healthcare. The evolution we've seen over the years now is that a lot of our application vendors are pushing you to SaaS offerings, storing all the PACS images in the cloud, store EHR from the cloud. Most of microscopes come with a SaaS application. So you will see a spread out of your information across different areas again. So returning to the 90s, let's say. So think about it, certainly when we talk about AI. What is AI? It's a lot of data preparation. But the AI itself, it's minutes, seconds. But the data preparation is the issue, because we have to gather the data from all the different sources. So the better you structure your data from day one, the more benefit you're going to get from it. So if you look at where we are today, it's like one platform, the same operating system. You can run it in a virtual machine. So you can run it on a VMware side, on VMware, on any hypervisor. You can run an ONTAP. You can run it in the cloud. It's used by the cloud providers as a first-party product. So, like all the consolidation will bring down the cost of your storage. There you go, yeah. The same thing we did over the last years from a management perspective. You often had like, for backup, well, you had an extra tool for disaster recovery. It was another management console. For cluster management, you had Unified Manager. We all brought it back in Blue XP. It's the framework, and there you have those different areas. It can be made accessible to different levels of users in the organization. So storage administrator can see everything, but a departmental admin could also be given access to the things he needed. Where I want to focus on is the protection and governance today, mainly. But first of that, I want to talk about some interesting things, certainly for healthcare organizations. If you look at 80% of worldwide data is healthcare data, or 70%, switching it around. 80% of that data is cold data. That's data that's never been touched, or almost never been touched. But often we treat it on the same platform as our production data, or at the same level, like SSD drives. Why do we do that? Often, well, because we don't have the time to migrate it. We don't have the time to think about it. What we created is it's called Fabric Pool. So what you have your production data, your call data on the same level. Now what we can do is that your tier 1, so let's assume PACS, your first tier of PACS images, so the short-term cache, you can still store it on SSD, but after a month you can set some thresholds. After a month, or even immediately, depending on the type of data, it will be tiered down to a slower tier of data, of storage. Here we talk about storage grid, so it's an S3 bucket that's behind it. Your full management is done through this fast tier. So looking from a PACS perspective, instead of doing archiving through the PACS application, you can leave it to the storage and leave it as just one bucket. If you have to migrate between PACS vendors, that means you only have one bucket to migrate. You don't have to go through all the archives and make sure that they fit to each other. So it's kind of simplifying on the long term. Just looking at a picture, but the idea of this slide is more like, do you know what you have? Do you have what you need? And is it really optimized to what you need? So just a couple of questions to ask when you think about storage, your strategy, or your IT infrastructure strategy. I think it's valid to not only to storage, but to a lot of things. NIS2, yeah, buzzword of today in the industry. How can we help as NetApp in compliancy to NIS2? We have some, in BlueXP, there is BlueXP classification. It's a tool that's included, and that's maybe historically also a nice thing. If you bought NetApp 5 years ago, you have regular updates of the OS version. This tool came 2 versions ago, available to all existing customers. It's included in the package. So what does it do? It uses natural language processing to go through your data set. Today, only on NAS. From the summer, we're going to be able to do it on SAN as well. No, I'm wrong here. I'm mixing up with the security. So it can go through files, databases, SharePoint, Outlook, looking for Philippe Wackers. Where does Philippe Wackers appears in a document or in any type of information? You will get some reporting on it. You can also look for security setting, who has access to what. You can look for duplicates of files. So if you have to do a migration, before doing the migration, just scanning your full environment for duplicates. And we've seen with customers that between 20 and 30% of a total scan are duplicates. Or unused data that hasn't been accessed, that has been copied somewhere. You can get the reporting from it. You can get some action settings on it. You can use it for AI data prep. Simple example, I take my PACS archive. I want to know on scanner type A, all the images, and make it a data set. You can use this tool for it as well. So it has a classification, data preparation, and it's free of charge. It's included in the product. It used to be open for all vendors, so we could also use it on Dell, HP, and whatever. Due to our nature of NetApp, like only being focused on NetApp from a storage perspective, it was very hard to sell. So we narrowed it down to further develop it, but in migrations, it can still be used. Talking a little bit about security, healthcare is a high-risk area for ransomware attacks. And what we've seen is that we are well protecting ourselves, but most of the time storage is not protected. Primary storage is not protected. We're going to do some protection in doing a backup or doing a 30 minutes scheduled scan, but we don't protect it in the real time. And to me, it's a little bit like being a bank without a vault. Your critical assets, you leave them open because everybody tries to protect the data, but the data itself we don't really protect. And this is where we did some investments. The NetApp ransomware protection is 2 ways. You have the autonomous ransomware protection that is running on the controller. It's AI-driven, real-time. So it will scan the data that's coming in, what's happening with the data on the box from a data perspective. So if suddenly files getting encrypted or a file extension with a known ransomware extension has been detected, an immutable snapshot will be taken, you will get alerted, the user that is writing it will be blocked. Next to that, we have also user behavior. So we have part of the Blue XP, we also have a tool that is looking at user behavior. If somebody suddenly starts to delete a big chunk of files, you can block the access or you can just give the alert. But this autonomous ransomware is also included in the product. So it's free for use. We did there's been some testing done out of a UK company. 99% of the attacks we were able to detect and stop. That 1% we were able to recover. And that has to do with all these little buzzwords that you see on the slide. If something comes in, we create an immutable snapshot, but you also have other snapshots. The immutable snapshot, nobody can delete it. Only the administrator can delete it after a certain time. So I'm going to say 10 days, because probably if it's a ransomware attack within 10 days, well, you will have detected it and you will be recovering. We guarantee ransomware recovery. So if you can't recover, we will pay penalties. So that's just showing how confident we are about our ransomware protection. Why? Probably this one is a very important one. We are the only storage vendor that can be used in the highest classified environments of the American authorities. So from that perspective, if you don't use NetApp, too bad. If you use NetApp, use the anti-ransomware protection. It's giving you a big guarantee that you will be able to recover from any attack. I'm not going to say you're going to be 100% protected, but you will be able to recover. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Today, this one is only on NAS data, so on file data, but from the summer it will be available for SAN as well. So we will be able to protect your full data set from a ransomware protection. So I think as a summary, well, we're trying to simplify the things. Some other things that are included in the product is we have disaster recovery. Any storage platform should have it from different levels. Integrated backup. Most of our customers are using snapshots as a backup scheme, either using our own tools or integrated with tools like Commvault, the backup vendors that can use through API calls our tooling on the box. So it's really simplifying, unifying the data, saving, and this is a hard one because often we still are consuming storage by price per terabyte, not by price of functionality. If you buy a terabyte, it's a disk, 1 terabyte, or a storage box with a lot of features and protections around it, there has a price. It has a price. Even if we say it's free in the product, well, the total package there is a cost. But if you look at the total cost and compare it to the protection that we can deliver you, well, we will probably be better priced than our competition. Also, we see a lot of other vendors promoting them as a unified platform. We have one operating system, ONTAP. Often you see an it's a masked unified system. For file, they have operating system A. For SAN or block, they have operating system B. If you want to do anti-ransomware protection, it's some other tool. Here it's all included in one platform. So just as a resume, I think, improve the quality of care by any dollar spent. I think we can improve your availability, your protection at a better price and at a better confidence than anyone. So with that, questions, remarks, does it make sense?
Regarding the ransomware feature, is it enabled always by default?
No.
Or you have to switch it?
You have to enable it. Yeah. So it's for existing customers, they just have to download the license key, introduce it, and then activate it. Before we had like a learning period of 2 weeks. Nowadays, it's AI connected. So you get like the database with any update of ONTAP, and you can also download updates separately from a full version download of ONTAP. Anyone else? Okay then. Thank you.